The Ever-Open Door by Glenice Crossland. Read by Maggie Mash. Chapter 1. The key was inside the letterbox, hanging from a string. It was a heavy old key, turning rusty from lack of use. Neither Sally Butler, her husband Jim, nor little Daisy saw any reason to lock anybody out, and since they hadn't much of value, didn't think it necessary to lock anything in either. On the rare occasions the door did happen to be locked, any neighbour in need, indeed, any Tom, Dick or Harry, would know where to find the key to number 9 Potter's Row. Usually visitors would simply tap on the door and enter the house with a call of, "It's only me," or "Anybody in?" The first caller of the day would be Nellie the postwoman. With telephones a luxury, only for the likes of doctors, business folk, or the very wealthy, not many days would go by without a visit from Nellie. There'd be letters from aunts inviting them to stay, others announcing forthcoming visits, and especially welcome would be the ones easily recognizable as being from Sally's airman brother, Ernest. Nellie would be fortified with something hot in winter, and on high days and holidays, a drop of port wine. "It's only me," she announced herself. "One from your Ernest this morning, unless I'm mistaken." "Oh, at last!" Sally sighed with relief as she unfolded the flimsy sheet of paper. It was mainly thanking them for the parcel of knitted socks and gloves that Ernest had received. He sent his love to all the family and said he hoped little Daisy was being a good girl, then gave a glowing description of yet another new girlfriend. Sally guessed things wouldn't be nearly as rosy for him as her brother made out. Nevertheless, her mind was set at rest that so far he was still in one piece. After Nellie had been given the letter to read and then continued on her round, Sally unknotted the scarf from the top of her head, took off her pinafore, and raked a comb through her mop of chestnut curls. Then she hurried along to number 5, where her sister Enid Cartwright would devour the contents of the letter eagerly, also very relieved that their brother was safe. The next caller of the day was Mr. Harrison the milkman, who found the house deserted except for Dippy, the black and white mongrel. The dog sniffed excitedly round the caller's legs before returning to his mat. Mr. Harrison usually enjoyed a gossip with Sally, but not to worry. The money and the jug were waiting on top of the sewing machine as usual. He measured out the milk with his gill measure, and poured the dregs into the dog's dish before he left, closing the door behind him. No doubt he would catch up with Sally at her sister's, if he put a spurt on. He smiled to himself. If he'd been 20 years younger, Mr. Harrison could have fancied Sally Butler, who was quite a looker, with her trim figure and what the lads used to describe as legs up to her armpits. Of course, he would never have got a look in when Jim Butler came on the scene, and nobody would begrudge the amiable young couple their obvious happiness together. Little Daisy was playing shop with a couple of tin lids, a pile of stones and a few leaves, when the milkman arrived at Enid's. He began to sing, "Daisy, Daisy," and the child smiled shyly. Daisy liked the milkman. He could hear the two women laughing through the open door, and as he popped his head in, Enid called, "Oh, aye, timed it right again, have you? I don't know how you manage it." He knew that meant she had just brewed up. "Sorry there's no sugar," she said, as she poured 3 cups of tea, "but at least we won't be short of milk." Thanks, that's welcome." He poured milk into the measure, and transferred a drop into each cup. "What about the little lass? Will she have a drop of milk?" "Thanks, all the same, but she won't touch the stuff. I only wish she would." Sally frowned. "I've never known such a faddy little devil." Her sister grinned. "She'll have no option when she starts school. They have a bottle every morning playtime, whether they like it or not." Enid was a cleaner at Millington Council School, a few minutes' walk away. "Well, I only hope she isn't sick if they force her to drink it."
Sample complete. Ready to continue?